Many people have asked me what my position is on abortion and abortion rights, especially since I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended. Roe v. Wade. They wanted it ended. My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land. In this case, the law of the state. Many states will be different. Many will have a different number of weeks, or some will have more conservative than others, and that's what they will be. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people. You must follow your heart or, in many cases, your religion or your faith.
Former President Donald Trump understands the political liability associated with pursuing a national abortion ban, which is why he put out a statement indicating that he is not going to pursue a national abortion ban and feels that the issue should be left up to the states. Well, Senator Lindsey Graham disagrees, and now this has led to quite a tiff between Graham and Donald Trump. Now, Lindsey Graham on X wrote that I respectfully disagree with President Trump's statement that abortion is a states' rights issue. Dobbs does not require that conclusion legally, and the pro-life movement has always been about the well-being of the unborn child, not geography. Graham continued by saying, the states' rights only rationale today runs contrary to an American consensus that would limit late-term abortions and will age about as well as the Dred Scott decision. Was this guy not around during the midterms? Was he not around during the midterms? Lindsey Graham totally in the dark about how unbelievably popular what he's advocating for really is.
Unpopular.
I'm sorry, unpopular, that's what I meant.
So I'll just address that real quick. He's from South Carolina. In South Carolina, he might have a different motivation than the other politicians where it's even more right wing in that state. And so he might be looking at his polling numbers and seeing that they want to really push for a 15-week ban among his primary voters. But calling it like the Dred Scott decision is a heavy insult to Trump. He no like that.
Oh, he no like that. And you're about to see how much he dislikes it in just a moment.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
But let me finish reading that second tweet where he says that, and he lies, that the science is clear. A child at 15 weeks is well developed and is capable of feeling pain.
Not true.
Not true. The science conclusively establishes that a human fetus does not have the capacity to experience pain until after at least 24 to 25 weeks. Every major medical organization that has examined this issue and peer-reviewed studies on the matter have consistently reached the conclusion that abortion before this point does not result in the perception of pain in a fetus. Nonetheless, Graham went on to say that he will continue to advocate for a national minimum standard limiting abortion at 15 weeks. Mike Pence also criticized Donald Trump, saying that his repeat on the right to life is a retreat, I should say. His retreat on the right to life is a slap in the face to the millions of pro-life Americans who voted for him in 2016 and 2020. Now, I want to go back to Lindsey Graham though, because Donald Trump did not take kindly to what Lindsey Graham had to say. He put out a lengthy statement on Truth Social. Just bear with me as I try to get through the lengthy statement. He wrote, Senator Lindsey Graham is doing a great disservice to the Republican Party and to our country. At first, he wanted no abortions under any circumstances. Then he was up to 6 weeks where you're allowed abortion. Now he's up to 15 weeks where you're allowed abortion. But what he doesn't understand, or perhaps he does, is the radical left Democrats who are destroying our country will never approve anything that he or the Republicans want. They love this issue. I don't love this issue. This is an awful issue to politicize because we're talking about like women's lives and their health and reproductive health care being available to them. But let me continue. They love this issue, meaning the left. They want to keep it going for as long as Republicans will allow them to do so. Terminating Roe v. Wade was, according to all legal scholars, a great a great event. But sometimes with great events come difficulties. Many good Republicans lost elections because of this issue. And people like Lindsey Graham that are unrelenting are handing Democrats their dream of the House, Senate, and perhaps even the presidency. When the Supreme Court had the courage to do the right thing legally and terminate Roe v. Wade, all of those people, including Lindsey Graham and Marjorie Dadenfelser of Susan B. Anthony, that were hardliners, one day after the victory, were gone and of absolutely no help. As the Democrats staged rallies and won elections they should never have won. Lindsey, Marjorie, and others fought for years unsuccessfully until I came along and got the job done. Then they were gone, never to be heard from again until now. And then my personal favorite, a post later, Trump writes, I blame myself for Lindsey Graham because the only reason he won in the great state of South Carolina is because I endorsed him.
He's such a weirdo.
I'll allow it.
That might be relatively true. Yeah. Lindsey Graham has won many races before Donald Trump came around. But at this point, the reason Graham usually grovels to him around election time, and actually for 90% of the time, that's why we're surprised by this story, is because if he gets is not in the good grace of Donald Trump, he will be eliminated in the South Carolina primary. Trump definitely has the power to do that, and Lindsey Graham knows that. All right, Trump amuses me because he says things like, they want abortion, not an abortion, just abortion, and the abortion is capitalized.
Yeah.
Why, no one knows. Okay, but there was one thing he said that was very wrong, other than the insults and all the factual misstatements, etc. But in terms of politics, he says, and the Democrats will never agree to what you want anyway, Lindsey Graham. So this isn't really a realistic issue. That's not true. And here's what I mean by that. Not that the Democrats wouldn't agree or would agree with them on abortion, but they might not need them. Remember, if Trump wins, he's probably bringing some coattails along with him. Mm-hmm. So winning the House, they already have the House. Holding it is not that difficult. Winning the Senate is actually relatively easy this time around because a lot of Democratic seats are up. So if they have the Senate, you think they're going to worry about the parliamentarian? You're never going to hear about the parliamentarian again. So yeah, if House, Senate, Trump, they'll pass an anti-abortion bill that is 15 weeks, 6 weeks, something along those lines. And goes, so what? So what? Then you shouldn't have voted for us. Ha ha, you voted for us. They'll pass a massive tax cut for the rich, and they might pass 6 week, I think is even undoable for the Republicans, but 15-week ban. And then what is Trump gonna do, veto it? No way. So yes, if you vote for Trump, you're definitely risking abortion being limited nationwide, even though he says that that's not the case. So look, Anna, does he care one way or another on the actual policy? We all know, absolutely not, right?
No, right, yes.
All he cares about is the politics and his self-interest, right? I mean,
I don't think that there is a political will among Republican lawmakers in Congress, among the majority of Republican lawmakers in Congress, to pursue a national ban. And I don't say that because, they care about the well-being of women in the country. No. Everything they do is a political calculation. And they've been badly burned by this issue. And they don't want to touch it anymore.
Yeah, again, though, with Lindsey Graham and the other groups, you see, it kind of depends. It depends on if they're zealots. It depends on a bunch of things, right? So we'll see how it plays out. I wouldn't take a risk on it by putting Trump into office. That's for goddamn sure, okay, in my opinion. But all right, two more things real quick. Lindsey Graham says, this is not an issue that should be decided by geography. This is the same guy and the same party that insisted on states' rights for my entire life. Now states' rights is just a matter of geography. I want to ban everything nationally now that we're going to be in charge. Okay, so you never meant states' rights. All states' rights meant is we want to discriminate against black people. And if you didn't know that that's what states' rights meant for the right wing, hello, welcome to America, nice to have you here. Okay, and then finally, if you look at that findings by all the meta studies on science and say, and because I'm saying this, I can see right wingers saying this. Isn't it convenient that the scientists declare that they don't get pain until after 24 weeks in gestation? No, brothers, it's not convenient. The reason that you pick 24 weeks is because it's almost impossible to be viable before 24 weeks, and there's no pain receptors before 24 weeks because they're actually forming.
They're still developing.
They're not a human being yet. They're still developing in the womb. They develop the pain receptors later. Like you've been told a bill of goods about, oh, they get a heartbeat right away at 6 weeks. No, that is not a heart has 4 chambers, pumps blood. It's not even close to a heart. A heart develops much later in the pregnancy. So you pick 24 weeks because of viability and pain receptors and all the science around pregnancies. But if you don't care about science and you just want to control women's bodies, you're gonna vote right wing anyway and just be honest about it. But you're not, it's not because of the pain or the heart of a zygote inside the womb.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.